What if I told you that there was a way to actually get a job without doing an interview? Yes, you heard that right. You do not need to do interviews. Well, there's a different way to actually get interviews, but don't focus just on interviews. If you do that, you are playing a very traditional game with your job search, and it could create different results you do not want to see, which is apply, wait, nothing happens. What am I doing? Am I ever going to get this job? And the answer is you probably will, but it's probably going to take a lot longer than you think because there are new methods for you to actually get a job these days. And a lot of people don't actually know about them. So informational interviews are what I want to introduce you to. Now, an informational interview is like a really watered down version of an actual formal interview. A formal interview is where you get an email. They tell you you've got half an hour. This is the person you're going to meet. It's a very formal setting. The nerves start to fly. And then you have the generic questions of, tell me about yourself. Or why do you want to work here? Why should we hire you? That's a formal interview. An informational interview is a 5 to 10 minute phone call or a Zoom link meeting / Teams where you can have with anybody in the company of a company that you want to work for. So it's not limited to a hiring manager. It could be a project manager, data analyst, a wealth manager, a CFO, hell, the CEO of the company even. An informational interview is a relaxed conversation that you can have with a decision maker or someone who could recommend you to a decision maker in the company you want to work for. Now, I've got a student that I'm working with right now. He's called James. James is looking for, by the way, shout out James. Thank you for allowing me to use you in this video. James is looking for a Microsoft position or a position within Microsoft. And he was applying for jobs in Microsoft. Every job that kind of fit in with the type of role that he wanted to do, which is more project management, he would apply to. And 5 minutes later, he gets a, unfortunately, you haven't been successful email. So what James and I are working on right now is developing a strategy to just reach out to project managers, people who are doing a semblance of a role that James is interested in, so James can have meetings with these people. Now, what he's doing right now is he's having roughly about 4 or 5 meetings every week with people in Microsoft, people in companies that are competitors of Microsoft, companies that are in the same space, so technology companies. And he is developing 5 to 10 minute meetings with people who are either decision makers or people who could recommend James to a decision maker. Now, why is it so important to have an informational interview? Well, before we get into that, it's important to know that you can have an informational interview. So you right now might be thinking, well, what's this informational interview Milo is talking to me about? Like, I know Milo is kind of looking outside of the box when it comes to job search, and judging by the other videos, if you've seen them, don't forget to like and subscribe, by the way. You probably see that I talk about very different styles of job search, something that's quite unorthodox. Right now, with your informational interviews, it's an unorthodox, informal way to get a meeting with someone who can actually help you get a job. Now, there's nothing bad about that, and there's nothing impossible about that. It's just imagine that you have your best friend working in your company of choice, and they refer you, they recommend you, hey, this person's all right. You know, he can do the job. I vouch for him or her. You want to start creating that friend in the companies you want to work in. So it's your opportunity to start really finding out who the people are that are doing the jobs in the companies you want to work in and try to get meetings with them. Now, you can't send them a message on LinkedIn or an email or a private DM on their Instagram saying, hey, give me an informational interview. It doesn't really work that way. You have to start taking this like a salesperson selling a product to a lead type of approach. And what that really means is you are the product, you are the sales rep of that product, and the person that you're trying to get a meeting with is a potential buyer. So if you put yourself in a position of a salesman, you're not going to say, this is it, here's the price, let's go. That would be very transactional. Job search does not work that way. How job search actually works is where you're developing a relationship. Now, with every great relationship of trying to get an informational interview or someone to give you their time, you have to first take it in stages. So on LinkedIn, you want to connect with the person. You want to be in their network. That would be step one. For that, I would say you want to use an add note rather than an email message on your LinkedIn. By the way, there's a link below. I've done a free training where I actually break down this process in a little bit more detail. But for all intents and purposes for this video, I'll give you like a generalized way. So an add note would be really important. This gets you accepted in most cases. If you're accepted and you're in their network, that would be step one. Now, when you're accepted, when you're in their network, you want to look at this like an analogy where you're knocking on someone's door. You knock on their door, they open the door, i.e., they accept you, and then you have an opportunity to pitch why you've attempted to connect. You want to be able to say, the reason I've connected is because, and you give a very unique question as a pitch. You should not say, here's my CV, can I get a job or can I get a meeting? Way too early for that. You want to be able to develop a question. For example, I'm dealing with a lot of international job seekers at the moment, which is kind of the main area for How to Job at the moment, where international job seekers, when they get informational interviews, I pose a question where it's like, judging by international job seekers and international job seekers getting opportunities within your firm, does your firm focus on company culture, or would it be a focus of soft skills? Now, I want you to imagine how that sounds in comparison to, hey, here's my CV, can I get a job? If you ask a genuine, interesting question that relates to you, you're more likely to get a genuine response. So, for example, one of my international job seeker students received a answer in a form of well, we focus on company culture because if our company pays for sponsorship, we want to know that you're going to stay here for the long run, right? Which is a logical answer. So now my international job seeker student has then responded to that by saying, that's great. I'm looking for an innovative type of company culture with a focus of customer centricity. That again gets the specificity to actually get an informational interview and provides the context. Now, not only did they say that, but they actually asked for the meeting. They said, do you have 5 minutes to discuss customer centricity in your firm? So you're not saying, hey, can I get a job? Can I have a meeting because I want a job? It's more like, can I have a meeting with you to discuss this thing that's very apparent in your company? Okay. That gives you a genuine way in to actually have a meeting, which is great, right? So it kind of changes the way you even want to get meetings with people because you seem very well researched and very genuine rather than, I mean, everybody knows why you're having these meetings. It's just, hey, this person wants a job and that's great. But you want to have like, and I don't want to use the word guise of getting that meeting, but you want to present yourself in such a way that it just makes sense to have a meeting with you. So anyway, back to James. James is now speaking to people in Microsoft, and he's talking about projects. He's talking about company culture. He's talking about specifics that allow him to actually showcase why he would be the right fit for companies like Microsoft and their competitors. So what he's doing is he's asking questions, he's getting replies, he's asking for a meeting to talk about what's in those replies to get the opportunity to ask what I call closing questions. Now, closing questions are extremely effective. They're like your superpower in your job search. If you have a meeting with someone in the company you want to work in, and you have a good meeting with them, and you talk about genuine things to do with either projects, the company, or how they hire, or what they're looking for, and you can ask a closing question like, judging by how I presented myself in this meeting, do you feel that I would be the right fit? I want you to imagine asking that. It's a tough question to ask when you're in a meeting. Sounds simple, but I want you to try it the next time you have a meeting with someone. Because if you get a yes, which a lot of people will say yes just out of politeness, but if you get a yes, the boost of confidence you feel where you can actually see you're onto something. And if you do this with many people in the company targets that you have, not only will you have more confidence, but you'll actually get more formal interviews. Because the next closing question you want to ask is, can you help me make a formal application that results in an interview? Now, I want you to imagine asking that and then getting a yes. But the key question or part of that question is, can you help me make a formal application that results in an interview? That results in an interview, that part is super important. If you don't ask that question, you can always say, hey, can you help me make an application? Yeah, sure, here's a link. That generates an interview. Because that person will take it upon themselves to have the responsibility to effectively say, let me refer you to this person. Sure, I'm the hiring manager. I can't help you, but this person can. If they say yes, and if they truly mean yes, and some people will, some people won't, but if they truly mean yes, not only are you one step closer to having an interview, you probably will have an interview judging by that stage. So that's super important to know. Hopefully this is all starting to click because your approach, if you're watching this video and you've gotten to this point, is, hey, I've been just applying for jobs. I haven't even bothered with networking with people. Like, why should I? This is why. If somebody in the company you want to work in knows you and likes you and actually wants to help you get a job, informational interviews are a game changer for you. You will have such an unfair advantage in your job search that you're going to be fighting the offers off. Like I have students right now where we take a detailed view of exactly how to do this. And their complaint to me is like, Milo, I have 7 interviews this week. I don't know what to do with myself. Like I've got a full-time job or a part-time job, or I've got my studies, or I've got to pick up my kids from school. Like I can't actually do all the interviews. When just a month or two before that, it was like, I haven't had any interviews in the last 6 months. Big shift because there is a focus on informational interviews. Now, if you want more advice in regards to this, the free job search masterclass, right in that link below, click on it, 20 minutes. I will show you other students like mine, like James. I actually showcase Dushant, who's an international job seeker, who I helped get 3 offers in 6 weeks, primarily through informational interviews. Informational interviews are a game changer. You have to do them, especially now. The job search marketplace is so competitive. There's so many jobs, but there's so many more people. So many more people are just applying. It's market saturation. It's like playing lottery. Everybody looks the same. Everybody has a chat GPT version of their CV. Everybody has experience. Everybody doesn't have experience. Like it's a mixture of everything, right? So you are playing the lottery in your traditional job search. Let's get away from the 90s. Like I say in some of my previous videos, you're job searching like it's the 90s. Let's get away from the 90s. Let's bring you back into 2025, okay? In 2025, by the way, we have this thing called LinkedIn and social media. I know it's crazy, right? We have the internet, which is kind of like better now. And then people are actually focusing on other things apart from your experience, right? University, great, whatever, but it's not all that it's cracked up to be. The diploma doesn't mean everything. It's great you have one if you do, and it's okay if you don't. It's who you are as a person. What soft skills you bring to the table. What's the company culture fit? What are your measurable metrics? Meaning from the transferable skills of projects, education, previous experience, what can you bring to the table? What other things do you add into the mix to make you you? Because companies, they're not thinking about just experience. They have AI to worry about. Oh, all these hard skills that we thought would be super important, they're not really important anymore because AI is just going to like cut everything in half in terms of what we need. We're going to have to fire all these people, but we're going to hire people that are adaptable. That's a soft skill you want to think about. That are leaders. We want people who can delegate. Like it's great if you have a ton of experience, but if the company is looking for leadership and you don't have any, you're going to have a tough time looking for a job. Equally, if you don't have that experience, but you're a genuinely natural born leader, that company is going to hire you like that, right? So it's super important to be able to talk about you, to put yourself out there. You know, social media, personal branding, focus on your LinkedIn, get meetings with decision makers. I cannot stress it enough. It will change your life. And if you got to this stage of the video, like always, costs you nothing to subscribe and like. If you do, it gives me quite a lot of confidence and focus to actually do more of these videos. I enjoy doing them, and I enjoy the messages that I get from you guys on LinkedIn. And please connect to me on LinkedIn. Feel free to like or dislike. If you didn't like it, if you think, this Milo guy is kind of annoying, that's fine too. Tell me what you would like to see as an improvement. But anything you want me to do in terms of videos, I'm speaking to a ton of you. I am doing the videos about remote work. So I had someone reach out to me, and I'll put the full name on my next video about remote work. You're currently in Italy and you want to get a job in the US for a US firm while still being in Italy. I've got you covered. Don't worry, that's coming next. And I also have this particular interview, which is a credit to Salman, who is one of my students right now, who is doing really well, and we're going to get some more interviews, aren't we, Salman? So thank you so much, guys. I appreciate your time, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.